Welcome to Chasing the Beats, a show dedicated to weeklybeats.com artists, their songs, and stories from the 2024 season. I'm your host, SQF, and our guest today is XN. All right, welcome to XN or XC3N, however you want to say it. Thanks for joining.
It all works. Yeah. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I messaged you a while back because I was captivated by one of your songs that, of course, I picked and that we're going to listen to later. And like all of my guests, it's fun to just do a deep dive all on your stuff and try to pick some of my favorite three and ones that kind of like showcase the variety of what you're capable of as an artist. So I think we have a good collection today of lots of fun stuff. And I know you're a fellow M8 guy, so
Yes, indeed.
we might get into that. I don't know. Stay tuned, people. Get your bingo cards ready. So, yeah, tell me about your Weekly Beats experience.
Well, 2024 was the first time that I actually managed to finish the challenge. Like I've tried, I don't remember the years, but it was like I skipped it for like two instances. But anyway, not really important. But yeah, I had attempted it in 2014 and 2016, and it quickly became difficult. I got the So I'll be entirely honest. I didn't do weekly beats. I did what I call weekly Sundays. I didn't work. I didn't work an entire week on these tracks. That's for sure. Sometimes I would have something started, but like mostly it was just a Sunday thing. And so that's what I did also in the two other years in 2014, 2016. And yeah, I couldn't do it. Like after a few takes, or like you miss a week and then you feel like it's not working anymore. But an excuse is good to quit when you're not into it. Like you just go, oh well, I tried. Like
I lost the streak now. Might as well quit.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's what I did those 2 years. But some interesting things came out of it, and obviously interacting with the community is always a highlight of these exercises. But so that's the first time I managed to finish it last year.
Yeah, what made you kind of get over that hump and actually do a whole 52-week streak?
That's a good question because it's kind of hard to pinpoint. I think it's just I needed more practice, kind of thing. I needed more just to because I've been making music since like 1996 on and off, and I think it's just that it's just you keep going at it, going at it, and that eventually things unblock for you one way or another.
Yeah,
I feel that's what happened that year. So finally, something just clicked. I was finally able to just sit down and do something. I've been working a lot more with hardware synthesizers and whatnot, which is not what I used throughout the challenge. But yeah, I think it's just finally getting. I mean, like. I'm 40. I just got 45 now, so it's it's about time I'm able to finish tracks properly. But I finally get the feeling that if I sit down to do something, then I will be able to do it. So
yeah.
I think that's what it is. But I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what finally made it work.
So nothing in particular that really unlocked for you, other than just like.
I wish I had like a magic formula. I could tell people, "Hey guys, all you needed to do is eat peanuts for a month." But I think it's just practice, and then eventually getting comfortable, and then
all you need to do is turn 45, and then you're like,
exactly.
I should be able to finish.
I mean, there might be some truth to that because it hit hard, and you go like, "Oh, okay." I was gonna do 50 things. I don't think I'm gonna do 50 things now. There's like pick two, and then move forward with it. So maybe that. M8 probably helped a lot too, to be honest.
Yeah. And did you said you didn't use a lot of hardware
Well, I mean,
over the
like,
weekly beats here.
because when I wrote the description on the site, I was like, "Oh, expect a lot of hardware jams," because that's what I was doing the year before, and that's like what I was getting into a whole lot. But then, with time pressing, and then you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I only have a few hours," so I reverted back to my DAW choices renoise. I reverted a lot to renoise because I felt comfortable with it. I could set up stuff like quickly and just like iterate.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that. And then during the week, sometimes I'll set up some hardware stuff and then play it a bit with it. And then at the end of the week, I go like, oh, okay, this is set up now, and I got a bit familiar with it. So let's do something with that. For instance,
And anything in particular that you walked away 2024 with having completed a full streak?
sorry, I didn't get that.
Like any particular skills or epiphanies or realizations since you actually did 52?
Yeah, I mean, and it sucks because I don't have like an explanation for you, but and it's a bit depressing because I was like, okay, finally, like I said, like now I feel confident. If I sit down and decide to do something, I will do something. It might not be the best song in the world, but before I would like do a loop and then get stuck or like just like I wouldn't get anything going. Now I feel confident that if I sit down, I can do something.
Got
Uh,
it.
and that's
On a
huge. And the
Sunday.
reason why I said that on a Sunday, like I didn't try on the other days, maybe it doesn't work. But and I said it's depressing because I'm like, hey man, like I can probably finally do something with that. Like like there's like all these shitty mobile games company, like they need crappy music. I could like just have like quantity over quality, and then AI arrived, and I'm like, okay, well, my brand new developed skills that took like
Yeah. AI
30
is like
years.
hold my beer.
Yeah, and got superseded by AI. So because it is what it is. Doesn't matter though. But yeah.
Yeah. And what kind of hardware stuff do you like to use?
So I got a bunch of things. I have a predisposition, I would say, or like a fondness of chip music. That's how I got started, directly and indirectly, meaning that. So I started on Scream Tracker 3 back in '96. So that's to me, it's not chip music, but like it comes with so many restrictions that it's kind of the same. Like my first love for a synthesizer was the Commodore 64 SID chip, and so I have like a hardware synthesizer that has two SID chips in it. So I really like this one. So there's this company called Twisted Electrons, based in France, and they do a lot of OPL3 synths. A lot of they have this one Therapsid, which is the one with the Commodore 64 chips in it. So I really like these ones. Otherwise, I like things like M8, and I like things like I have an Electron machine drum that has like a third party add-on sequencer to it that's called
Mm,
Mega Command. So I've been participating in the development of this
it's
uh,
called what?
Mega Command.
Mega Command. Okay.
So it's like a little Arduino based extension for the Electron machine drum, and it supersedes the sequencer. And the two, so there's one guy in China, one guy in Australia that did this. They're freaking insane. They hacked like the firmware, they reprogrammed it, like and then they used, because the machine drum was already sending MIDI and receiving MIDI like natively, so they kind of hijacked that, and then you control the whole thing from another. It's quite messed up, and then it brings the machine drum not only to the same level as the modern electron sequencers, but it actually goes way beyond that. What I was getting at is like devices like this that are being developed by people who actually use them and are not actively
Yeah.
trying to make money. I mean, Trash 80 and the M8 is kind of an exception to that. I mean, because obviously he's trying to make money because he has to. This hardware is expensive compared to a 3D printed box with an Arduino that you can build yourself, right?
Yeah.
But they have this kind of same philosophy, because the M8 you can use with like if you buy a Teensy, software is actually free. Like you don't need to buy the hardware platform. Like in that context, Trash 80 wouldn't make any money, but it'd be happy for you to use it still. So these kind of philosophies where people are more interested in making a good product, especially for themselves since they use them, and then they really
Yeah.
listen to the community feedback. That's where I like to be, in these kind of communities where you can actually participate into the development of the product, and then get that stuff going, which is a little what I did with LGPT, which is another sampler tracker that's similar to M8. That's also based on LSDJ. That's as most people will know the Game Boy tracker there. So anyway, so I like to use these things where it's more
Yeah.
than using a product. It's like being part of a community and like finding a bit of yourself in the product, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, that's fun.
Very cool. And the first one that you mentioned with the that's got the electron connection, I guess is maybe the
Oh,
word I'm looking for.
because the machine drum is one of the first, like, if we don't count the SID station, which was kind of just a standalone synthesizer with SID chips in it. That was the first device by Electron, and didn't have a sequencer or anything like that. It was just a synth, right? But the first device that they did with the Electron sequencer was the machine drum, and it's old. And so they iterated a lot over the years, and then they added like more and more stuff, but they never updated the machine drum. So if you're using this third party box that I mentioned, then it adds back the features that are missing, and it does so much more. But that's like you have like it's like a co-pilot basically, like like a secondary computer to drive the box.
That's cool.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, and you have mentioned in some of your descriptions that you do some live stuff. Are you still doing live shows? Like what's that kind of history like?
Well, I'm still doing radio, so I've been before. Well, so long story short, I'm born in Montreal. Then I moved to Shanghai in 2005, I think. No, sorry, 2015. Yeah, spent 8 years in Shanghai, then 2 years in Tokyo, and now I'm just back here.
Wow.
So before I left for Asia, I was doing these let's say seasonal shows, including like a yearly music festival called Toy Company. That I started with other locals in Montreal, and we were doing chiptune, little live shows and whatnot. So that was a lot of fun. And throughout that, I was also hosting a radio show on University Radio on FM here in Montreal. So I kind of used also this to kind of showcase a lot of chiptune artists and local artists that would not get airtime in any way, shape, or form otherwise.
Yeah.
Now that I'm back in Montreal, I started doing the radio show again. I took it back. So I've been doing this. As far as live shows, I mean, like I don't know if I want to start leading the shows again. There's a lot of work.
Mhm.
But there's quite a few events that are happening. So I started connecting back with people and finding places to play. So hopefully I'll get a few bookings in the future. For now, I've done some open mics and stuff like that. But yeah, looking forward to do more basically.
Yeah, what's your cuz I'm often curious about getting into the live game, which is why I got a Digitone 2 to kind of have a little bit more knobs and buttons and that sort of thing. What is your ultimate small live setup that includes an M8?
Well, so the M8 I use as a backing track mostly and as a MIDI sequencer. What I like to do is to have at least like one drum machine that's obviously not entirely operated live. I'm not like playing drums live, but that I will like fiddle with live, like to do the progression, like building up the drums and down the drums, like with mutes and fades and whatnot, adding
Got it.
effects, reprogramming maybe in real time, depending on the drum machine. Have like other little live tricks that you can do that are interesting. So I have a tendency not to put any drums on the M8, for instance. Not only it will eat up a whole lot of channels, but it's not as fun to play with it live. Then stuff that is just playing chords and like the chord progressions or some sounds or that I
Yeah.
don't have any intention of playing with live, then that's going to be on the M8 and playing by itself. Then I like to have like a bassline synthesizer, either a 303 or something else, but mostly 303s because that's my favorite one. Then I'll have that like physically as well. So like a live bass line, a live drum machine, everything else playing on the M8, so I don't have to worry about it. And then
Mhm.
just play with this.
Yeah, that way you've got some knobs to play with for the bass, and then you've got some patterns that you can kind of change up pretty easily.
I used to go pretty crazy and then bring a lot of stuff, and then like the thing is, I only have two ends, right? So,
Yeah.
and that's what I've been telling people too. Is like, oh, what should I do with this? This I'm like, just keep in mind you only have two ends because you do go there, you have all these little things that you think you will do or you can do, and say, oh, this will be fun. This is interesting. I definitely have to do that little trick or whatever it is. And then you're doing your live set, you get excited, you get nervous, and then you forget like 70% of what you can or wanted to do. And then so in the end it's better to have a few things that you master very well, and then like
Yeah.
capitalize on that than to try to have like many things. And it also saves you time on setup because like setting up like 8 devices it takes a long time, and then people will go like, yeah, you're taking too much space on the table, dude. I'm like, yeah, sorry, so
I mean, that's a really good point, and I can see how in planning a live show you would think about all these different things you can bring, and then like as I've been just researching and exploring, it's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to have one of these like MIDI fighter
oh
twisters
yeah,
where you've got
yeah, those
all
are pretty cool.
these knobs for to control some stuff on the M8, but then back to practical reality that
But what
you
I do
probably
use is
don't need that.
I have a fader Fox UC4. So this one has like 8 faders, a crossfader, and then 8 nubs, and you can like it's super small, and you can configure it without a computer. So like if you need to change something on the fly, you can
Yeah,
actually
that's
do it
cool.
from the device itself. So for live use, this is actually really good, especially like if people maybe they're only using an M8, for instance. Well, it does have 8 channels, or original Digitone or Digitakt only have 8 channels. Well, then you can set it up through MIDI, and you can have your favorite features accessible at all time, and then you can fade in and out your different channels rather than just go to mute mode. And then like sometimes it can be a bit annoying if you're in one mode, you need to go to the other, and then like like timing is tight. So at least you have like a dedicated surface that allows you to do many of these things by itself. So this kind of little controller to me is really useful
Yeah, I've
to
seen those, and I'm often tempted to get one to try to play around with.
Oh yeah, Fader Fox, I would definitely recommend because super good quality. The price is I think it's a bit expensive, but it's worth it for what it does. And like I said, one of the main features is like the ability to remap stuff and change stuff on the fly without having to go through a software on a computer is super important.
Yes,
So yeah,
that
and then it's small, so yeah.
yeah, that's important to me too. Anytime that I can do something without having to involve software communications,
Oh
like
yeah, yeah. But that's the thing. Life too is like laptops. I'm not. That's something like as a general rule in life that I recommend for others as well. So the only thing I'm going to recommend for others is just like when you have preferences, when you have ideas. I have them for myself. Like I don't like like you want to use a laptop, you want to use this and that. Like that's I'm not judging anyone. Me personally, though, I don't like using laptops. I don't trust
yeah.
them. I had I had like this. We had this show with Ilke with through toy company. So Ilke is kind of a legend in Montreal. Like he's been doing IDM and tracker music like for a long time. And like those in those circles, they know the name, right? And so he was set up to play just before Brightface, who's also in the Weekly Beat Challenge, and he had his laptop. And then when he booted up, the laptop was like, Windows is performing some updates. Please
Oh
wait.
no.
And I was playing at that time, and I was like playing some really bassy music, and that was back in the days where like we didn't have SSDs, and so anyway, I guess with the vibration that the hard drive kept messing up because he kept rebooting, and it kept like going like like please wait 0, 30%, 60%, 20%, and then 60 and then 10%, and then like it kept going down, and then so he never was able to play because the laptop kept trying to update, and
Oh
right they said
no.
kind of right anyway.
Yeah, cautionary tale against computers.
Yeah, I mean, that was a long time ago, I guess, with SSDs now and whatnot, and it might be better.
Still though.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean,
Yeah,
other hardware can fail as well, right? But
it's true. But a computer's pretty complicated.
yeah, and well, I mean, so people will bring their laptop and then bring like a launch pad or something like that, and that's more interesting. But I don't like if someone just like as we usually say, like, if it looks like you're checking your email, then it's not super fun to watch, I guess. Although
That's the other part of it. Yeah.
there's an exception to, so maybe you know S. You were talking about the Digitone. S has been one of the people that designed it. I I don't think he did the weekly beat challenge, but I think he's on the platform though. Anyway, so I know this guy back from the LGBT days, and so I saw him. He came to Tokyo, and now he left Electronics. He's making his own software, like VSC software, company
Okay.
called Force, FORS, and so he made a set on his laptop using the touchpad, and rather than have like he was facing the audience, he turned his laptop around so people could see what he was doing, and he was like kneeling. He was kneeling in front of a table, and he was using the touchpad, and he was like in Ableton Live with his Max for Live plugin that he designed, and he was just programming that live, and we could see everything he was doing. So that was interesting. With
Yeah, that is.
the added challenge of freaking kneeling and using the touchpad. I'm like, why do you like? Don't you have a mouse? And he's like, it feels like cheating. I'm like, anyway, it was a good experience though. That made it interesting.
But I mean, that's kind of why I really like using the M8, is because I can do so much not on a computer.
Mm. Are you using the Launchpad though with it?
I don't have a launch pad with it yet. Like I said, I'm kind of looking at other accessories to complement the M8, and maybe, do M8 Digitone.
It's pretty steep too. Like it's not cheap. This freaking this freaking controller.
Yeah.
But I kind of was I got when I bit the bullet, because when we had like this M8 Fest in Tokyo, and then all my friends are sent was there, and I like he was playing some other gigs and some little Tokyo bars, and Tokyo, like the bars sometimes, like just five people inside and it's full, like it's so there's like super intimate, super underground
Yeah.
kind of little gigs going on. That's kind of cool. So I was watching him use this live, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is interesting. It makes it more interesting visually, and it it allows you to not just hold something to your face. Then like you're looking,
Right.
creasing your eyes trying
And
to see something.
so what is the advantage of using the launch pad along with the M8?
Well, it's like if you have like you can launch your patterns, and you can cue stuff. It's like if your screen was huge, and it was also a touch screen that you could
Got
press
it.
directly on the
Got it.
patterns to fire them, for instance.
So you can have all the columns and rows and be like, I want to essentially launch this cell.
Yeah, and now it does more now, because just like I haven't man, like they've been on fire developing the firmware, so I haven't kept up in a little bit. But yeah, actually now it looks like there's a composer mode as well, so you can probably program sequence in it or something. I don't know.
All right.
I have to look into that, but
Dang.
this is something that's being actively worked on apparently. So yeah, I should
Maybe I do need to
have a
get
look
one of
again.
those.
I mean, yeah, I wish it was half the price that it was, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's worth it. It's more convenient, But what
Right.
that's great with M8 is like you could do entire albums with just a teensy, if you were so inclined, like, and with
Right.
the device itself also, you don't need any extra anything to do anything good.
So on the M8, since I know you're a big chiptune fan, do you do a lot of sound design in the M8, or are you mainly sample based?
No, I don't know what I don't want to say I have an aversion to samples, but they so first of all, I guess they feel like cheating just to use the words of S, like unless like you sample them yourself. Like if I do like stuff like hip hop and stuff, then like yeah, obviously sampling is a huge part of it, and that's what makes it super interesting. But like no, it's kind of ridiculous. It's like sometimes you make a song, and then you use like one sample that you didn't like. It's not you. You didn't do it. You didn't design it. And then you show the song to someone, and then they go like, "Oh, I really like this thing," and the thing that they like is the only thing you didn't do in the track. So I,
Yeah.
I don't like when that happens. No, but I think the sound design part is interesting. I think there's a lot to learn by using this, and then if you are good at sound design, you don't have to work as hard on other parts. Like when it comes to mixing, if your sound design is clever,
Yeah.
well, you don't need to force the sounds in, because you're kind of like you design it yourself and there's a lot of exploration involved, and like also like especially in M8, like with all the different modulations that you can do. Yeah, you could just noodle around just trying to, and then you end up with some wacky sound, and that can be, like sometimes these sounds they make the whole song, right? So
Hmm.
I like that, but it's fun. What I like to do is more like field recording, like, and that's something with the Model 2 that you can do to some extent
Yeah.
with the little built-in mic. But like, let's say like I'm in the metro, and then like I pass by this electric room and have like all these weird buzzing sounds. Then I'm like, okay, like I'll record that. Or I got, what's the name of that thing? It's a Soma Ether, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So then sometimes like when I walk around, like I would like have the M8 and the Soma on me, and then I would just plug in the ether into the M8, and then wear some headphones and just walk around like a lunatic. Like, what sound does that lamppost makes? And it's, what's this guy doing? You kind of look crazy, but and then you can do like long samples like this, and because you don't really have a limit, like it's not like the M8's it's streaming the sample from the card, right? It's not loading the whole sample in memory, so you can just isolate little tidbits, or you can just have an LFO just randomly take some parts of your sample, and then like add some delay, reverb, different effects. It can be quite interesting that way. But to have like a sample library, I don't know, which is weird. But even in LGBT, we had this. But most of the time, what we like to do is go to like oscillator mode, which is basically, yeah, you take a sample that's like just one waveform, and then you tell the software to loop it as if it's like an oscillator, and it would make our own synths using that. And we did a
Yeah.
lot of competition that way. There was one particular idea. It was funny. It was called Dash or something. It was a sample of one sample, meaning like, so the file was like 1 kilobit or something, like like it's just like,
Uh,
so like a normal sample rate, like like 40k 40 kilohertz, so that's 44,000 samples per second. So we were not using 44,000 per second, we were using one sample and then looping, which is
yeah.
like the tiniest movement basically you can have the speaker do. But we made an entire album with quite different songs left and right, with people just using that source, and then
Wow. Just modulating it and manipulating it different ways.
and so that's where sound design is interesting in that way, because it allows you to create something out of nothing. And speaking of which, I had this guy in Shanghai, which yeah, his stage name was Load Nothing, and it would just come with an octatrack, and it would load nothing. It would just like max the gain so they can pick up some noise, and then just start building out of that noise, and then make a
Wow.
track with it. So
Just like feedback live set kind of.
yeah, that was interesting. But anyway, yeah. So samples, I tended to use them that much, unless I'm doing hip hop, basically.
Well, you're still sampling, but you're curating your own, and like it's still your own
Whenever
stuff.
I can, I'd rather design a sound in a synthesizer or a synth engine, like we have an M8, rather than just like load a sample. And if I load samples, like for a long time in LGBT, for instance, my go to kick drum bass. Sorry, my go to bass was to load a SK, like a Casio SK1 bass drum sample, and then isolate a part of it, and then turn that into a bass. For some reason, it sounded good to me. So this
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
I what I meant by sample was like field recordings.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
I mean, I
that.
still, but that's when I'm doing ambience. Sometimes it's nice to have these kind of more organic, random things. But I don't know, like it's this whole thing about I was kind of like I didn't really do it. Yeah, I didn't design the whole synthesizer either. Like I didn't invent electricity. Like at some point you have to just do stuff. If it sounds good, then who cares
Yeah.
how it was made? But it's something that's like recurrent, and I always have a song. I had one in the past Weekly Beat Challenge, and I had one last year as well, which is using a lot of presets. Like I'm in a hurry and I'm like, okay, you know what? This song's just only going to be made with presets. But the thing is, you still have to make the song, right? But it's just feels weird. That's like, and then people are like, I really like this song. And you're like, yeah, I only did half of it. But who cares? If
It
people
was
are
just
having fun, who
presets
cares who did it, right? At some point.
at some point, yeah. But like you said earlier, it it kind of sucks when someone's like, "Oh, that one sound in
Yeah.
there I really like," and you're like, "Yeah, that's the only one that I like just downloaded."
But at the same time, if you were to only put that sound, and then just loop it and then show it to someone, they'd be like, "This sucks," you know? They wouldn't be like, "Oh, I
That's
really like
true.
the,"
That's
you know?
true.
So you contextualize it, you know, like
You made a good
you provided
environment,
the yeah, exactly.
yeah,
You
for
provided the
that thing to
background for this.
shine.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. You can always
Yeah,
twist it around, right? That's how your
it's
mind
true.
works.
But I do agree with you on the, like, doing sound design, which I think I really learned this on the M8 because other things that I had in the past, the sound design wasn't really as immediate, but I find myself tweaking the sounds to fit the song as I'm building. You know, instead of just doing like straight EQ to get things to fit, it's like, oh, what if I changed like the bass sound of it? And there's something about being able to loop it like a million times and change the sound design at the same time that I don't know. I think it's unique to the M8, or maybe it's just unique to my workflow because I don't really do much in a DAW, but produce this podcast in GarageBand. So
One of my favorite tricks though with the modulation and sound design and whatnot in M8 is the and this is something that me and if you know Leo, which is another LGBT user back in the days, a good friend of mine, and is also did the weekly beat challenge, and so in I don't remember in the list DJ, but in LGBT we had like these automated tables, meaning that like every time the instrument gets triggered, then the table will go down one line rather than just have it loop at a certain
right,
frequency.
right.
And so MA didn't have that in its first iterations. And so me and Leo were like telling Trash Eaters, like, oh, you need to do that. It was like, oh, I don't. I'm like, no, you need, we need, like, that's, we
We need
really want to
this.
have that. And then we made our case for it and he added it. And that's why the last speed is, or speed zero, I guess, or whatever it is the automation mode that comes from LGBT, or maybe it was in the LSDJ, I'm not sure. But why this is so great is because you can do so many like polyrhythmic things with like putting hops in different situations, and then like, okay, loop this section twice and then go down and then loop the section again, but then go all the way down, thus creating a delay, and then going through this, and then you do that in many different columns. And so for instance, like my favorite way to do hi-hats in M8, because I like sometimes I do drums and I made it like I have a this hi-hat trick, you know, like yeah, I just have like a little noise going on, but then with super complex table structure with the automated mode, so that like having just one every tick, the sample being triggered, but then sometimes it's sent to delay, sometimes it's sent to reverb, sometimes it's retriggered, sometimes it's the pitch will change, and I have like a like different pitches looping, but like the total amount of steps is like five, so it doesn't loop properly, so it always kind of have this like, you know, like a
Man.
rhythmic thing going on. That doesn't take a whole lot of time to do, and then you end up with like super complex like hi-hats, and with like yeah the trick of sending to reverb and delays, but not on every steps. And you can also have that randomized to some extent, so you end up sometimes with just the sound just going like and then when you get uh because it's, you know, like it doesn't always sync together, but after maybe like 1 minute you'll get one sync where it sends to retrigger reverb and delay at the same time, and then, you know, you get this really big sound coming out and you're like, oh, that's interesting, you know, like
Man.
and then it's set like every time you play the song that's going to be the same as well, so so you don't need to tweak it so much, and you can
Wow.
concentrate on other things. So I really like that.
Obviously, I need to dig deeper into this table magic that it sounds like you are quite familiar with.
Oh man, like that's we've been telling people that since LSDJ, because people go, "Oh, I like the software. It's nice." Like, have you touched the tables?" And I go like, "Oh, what's that?" I'm like, "It's the most important thing in the whole software." Like that's where all the you go from. Oh, this can do a lot of things to. Oh my god, like it's mind blowing what you can do in tables,
Wow.
especially in a made with like so many columns and with the amount of comments that are supported there. And I think this like so he had like a super quick mode, and then he just added another one like quite a few modes. I didn't get to test them yet, but they got added where depending on the notes, it will trigger different parts of the table, or depending on the velocity you would dress. So man, that's like starting to be super interesting because now you can kind of have like just a lookup table of effects, and then you can just depending on which velocity you give a note, it will trigger different things, and then you couple that with like the LFOs or with the envelopes or whatever else, and then the
Wow.
commands that are actually in the tracker itself. Man, like you can use insane stuff, you know.
I mean, I knew that the tables were very capable, and I understand at a basic level what they do, but clearly I need to do a deeper dive and really unlock the potential of
Yeah.
them.
It's worth having a look and just playing around with it. Uh, and the looping mode is fun as well. And then you can use the hub 0 at different heights in the different columns. So this way that, like even though the whole thing loops, it doesn't sync up. And then again, you can end up with the same kind of stuff I mentioned before, but now it's more of a ongoing thing for like a longer sample, for instance. Whereas if you have like a lot of short things going on, then yeah, it's better to use the automated mode or speed 0, whatever it's called.
Man, we're gonna have to put an M8 warning on this one.
Yeah, well, I
Warning,
mean,
significant
it,
M8 content.
yeah, I'm part of the people who would tell you that it's the best device to make music on the planet right now. Like for someone that likes trackers, and I started on trackers, I still use Renoise. I'm like tracker all around, and I've used LSDJ extensively, and I've used LGBT extensively. So for me, it's like when that came in, when I saw the first prototype, I went to Trashady, and I'm like, okay, so you're making my dream device, like because that's
Yeah,
it's everything I wished the LGBT could have done, and then times 100. It's freaking amazing, and the level of quality and dedication, I'm like, just it's unheard of. Like there's no device that has the same amount of love in it
yeah.
that made does that I know.
Well, and just like you said from the very top, there's something special about these devices that are made by the people that are using them and really care more about creating the device and the community over like just massive hockey stick growth expansion,
Because
private equity.
we all have this thing where we use devices, and I'm gonna be especially like freaking like Korg devices, for instance. Like you're like, man, this could be so good if it wasn't for that one stupid thing, like or like and then like to have someone that have the skills and the know-how and the time and the energy to just go and like, you know what, I'm gonna fix all these problems for myself, and then everyone else can benefit. Because the amount of there's a lot of limitations with an M8, of course, but they're all motivating limitations. All stuff that are fun to work with or fun to work against. There's no limitations that just pure bullshit. Like you're like, oh man, the
Yeah.
only thing that's kind of like this is, oh, you can't like use the USB port to load samples into the thing, kind of thing. Like so that one is a bit of a yeah, it would take time to the driver and this and
Yeah.
that. It's kind of a
But at
lot
the
of
same
network,
time,
but it's
the
not affecting your ability to make music.
the amount of capability that has been squeezed out of that
It's
teensy
insane.
unit, like,
That's what I was mentioning. That is the only thing I can think of that's kind of like a shitty limitation is the whole USB thing, which is just like like take the card out and connect it to a
yeah,
little. It takes 5 seconds. You
it's not the
you
end of the
lazy
world.
bastard. Like, so it's not a real problem. But that's the only thing I can think that's like, oh man, or maybe like sometimes I like some of the things are not. You cannot automate them through the modulation page right now. We could probably
Right.
do at some point, but it's nothing. It's nothing that's going to prevent you from really enjoying the thing. So I like that there's no hard limitations or anything that makes me discouraged or depressed.
And there's no subscription.
Yeah, that's in today's age.
Right?
Yeah,
It's like,
that's the thing.
subscribe to unlock tables,
It's like,
like
oh my god, don't give don't give anyone any ideas. Freaking
No,
table DLCs.
Trash 80, please do not do that. Not that I think you would, but
I think what he should if he sold a horse armor, then I would buy that. Like, but no.
I'm buying whatever he's selling, honestly.
I'm subscribed to the Patreon from day one because I want to.
Yeah.
So see, but that's the beauty of it is like he's not asking for anything, and then Like if he was asking for $5 a month, I'd be pissed. But since I give it to him because feel he deserves it, and I want him to be comfortable and be able to, I want to support the development of the firmware. Then it's fine,
Yeah, we like these updates.
Man, it's just I wish he would take more breaks though. He's gonna burn himself out. Like, yeah, we're
Yeah,
just
he
beating
did
this guy.
mention recently that he's a little
Well,
burnt out and he's
well,
taking a
yeah.
break.
I mean, no shit, dude. Like, take a vacation. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just, yeah, he's just too. He's a soft-hearted person, Like, you just, oh well, what about my this and that, and people will be this. I'm like, fuck people. Just get some rest, man. Like, you've done enough. Like,
Yeah,
what a saint.
for real. For real. Well, should we get into the music?
Sure, sure. Sorry, I mean, you can edit it. You can
Oh,
edit
no, no.
and make
Uh,
geekery if you need.
we're just going to put a warning on
Yeah.
it. All right. Should we start with, let's see here. We'll start with your picks. And I believe this one in all these song titles are in Leet speak. So I
Yeah,
believe this
nice.
one is Cosmic Eye.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
See, it's easy.
It's easy. Yeah, let's go. All right, that was Cosmic Eye.
Yep.
Spooky one.
So this one I like because so I had purchased like a Roland what's it called? Like a voice changer. But the newer one is like the little battery operated one. And it's a complete piece of shit, like any Korg and Roland products. I'm sorry, I can't. I've tried so hard. And I have a lot of them, but they always have some stupid bullshit going. Like for instance, this, yeah, I think it's the U4E4. Yeah, I don't know where it is, but so, for instance, it has like two things that are insane. One is you can MIDI sync, but if you don't, you can't control the MIDI clock from the device itself. Like there's no tap tempo, there's plenty of
Oh,
buttons to go around, like, but they just didn't implement it. They go like, no, if you want to change the BPM, then just you know what, just fuck you, basically.
deal with
That's
it.
yeah, deal with it. So that to me is insane. And then they've got this like this marketing. They have this huge knob. It's called a scatter or something, like scatter effect. You know, it's like, oh, there's like 300 effects, but you can't control any of them. They're just all shitty presets that are completely fucking useless. And it's like, what do you want me to do with this? And
So you
then
can't control any of the parameters?
nothing. You can't even adjust the wet dry or something. Sometimes the effect is cool, but you don't want to have it like all the way wet.
Yeah.
Nah, it's just no. We decided for you, and it fucks up your voice and like, and then sometimes it's interesting, but most of the time it just sounds like your mic is broken. So it's like, what's the fucking point of that? But I wanted to have a pitch shifter that I could carry with me, and because like I want to have a deeper voice when I sing and stuff, change the
Yeah, me
plugins and
too.
whatnot. I guess we all do. But so anyway, so I was playing with this. I just had bought it, and then I just started going like put the voice really low, and then going like, but then it sounded like in the song itself, it sounds like some mystical chanting, like some monks and
Dude,
stuff. And
it's
then obviously
creepy. It's creepy.
routed it through reverb and a bunch of other effects. But like and I was like laughing so hard when I made this track because it was literally me going like, but like then it sounds like so it is every time I would listen to it like again in the following week, I would just burst out laughing because I like it sounds super cool and very serious and ominous, but I know it's just me going, like making silly sounds. So, yeah, and
Uh,
yeah, I don't know. I quite like this one for these voices, especially. I think I tried something different with the drums too. It's not exactly the type of drums that I have, and I like the comments on this one because a lot of people were talking about like what I like when music is evocative. You know, like you just when I do a track, I don't picture anything, right? I just make music. Mostly, it's just my brain says like, oh, what about? I want to hear that now. You know, like my brain just goes like, why isn't there any hi-hat? You know, and I'm like, I just add whatever my brain wants to hear.
yeah.
And but yeah, I like when I post these things online and people go like, oh, I feel like I'm on the spaceport, and then this and that is happening, and I'm like, okay, that's where did that come from? I don't know, but it's pretty cool that like music can evoke images and
Yeah.
scenarios and feelings and
And
whatnot.
that's interesting because other people that I've had on kind of approach music making from the other direction of like, I have this like
This vision, yeah.
scene imagery that I'm trying to match. And I'm more like you, like, needs hi hat. But
Yeah,
it's
no, I mean,
cool.
yeah, it's just it's really just this, and even when I'm well, not always, but like when I'm because there's some tracks on my weekly beats that has lyrics, but it's usually just improvised, like it's not like it's freestyling. But when I'm writing lyrics, usually I would have like a melody, and then like I would listen to the melody, and some words would kind of emerge. And the words are not
Yeah.
there; just my brain goes like, I hear this word now, and then I would just write this down, and then basically I start filling in the blanks so that the different words that I heard they would make sense together. And then obviously after that you kind of fine tune it, but mostly it's just like like I call it like channeling, and I know you seem to be doing the same thing, and a lot of people are doing the same thing. Just like like the music speaks to me, like you're just channeling something from God knows where, and then
Yeah. The Ouija board in my head.
yeah, exactly. And then failing to do so properly, so it ends up being your own thing because whatever you were trying to channel, it got hijacked, and then you fucked it up.
Yeah.
So
But it still is cool that other people
right.
can take this thing that you made and build their own imagery from it
That's super interesting to see what people think, and I think
Yeah.
it might be better to some extent because, like, if you're like, "Oh, I would really wanna have the evocate," like, the evocate's probably not a verb, but it's not my native language. You're gonna have to give me a break, but, like, to conjure up the, idea of, "Okay, I want to evoke this, and that," and then you make it you have someone listen to it, and they go like, "I feel like I'm at the circus," and you go like, "What? No, you're listening to it wrong," Like,
Yeah,
you
like
don't you don't have this problem.
Napier's comment on here. This feels like being lost in a big city of a foreign land in a
Yes,
distant
yes.
future in another world.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. I don't know
Yeah.
why I said spaceport, but yeah, I like these ideas, and then you get to re-experience your music through the eyes of someone else. Then, because like you listen to, oh really, and then you listen to the song
Yeah.
again, and you go like, yeah, I can feel that, and I would do this a lot, like when I would make the songs on the Sunday, and then I would listen to it during the week after, and then like like I was living in Tokyo during this time, so it was just like walking through the streets of Tokyo, which can feel a bit alien at times, right? And then have the music playing and be like, yeah, yeah, I can kind of see it. So that's fun.
Yeah. So you were living in Tokyo during Weekly Beats.
Yeah, in 2024.
Did you ever meet Kedbrake?
I did during the M8 Fest.
Nice.
And then there was Root Node also that was there. And then there was the Japanese guys. Some of them like freaking amazing. They also played at the fest. Just because I want to say his name, I can't remember it now. But yeah, I didn't speak Japanese, so sometimes people are a bit less approachable when you don't speak the language. So that
Yes.
didn't help me. Oh, and my good friend Droid An, who's Brazilian, is also living in Tokyo, and he I talked to him about the challenge. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's a good idea," and then he didn't do it. But there's another musician there that I was hanging out with.
Yeah, I've talked to several people about Weekly Beats, and they're like, "Yeah, it's a good idea," and then they never do it. So
It's a huge commitment, like.
it is. I can't blame anyone.
But it's fun to try, even if you don't succeed.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna keep the kind of creepy vibes going and move on to Haunted Villa 2.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So this one is I choose it for two reasons. Also, I'm really big on the two reasons thing. I find myself saying
Give
that a
us
lot.
three, man. Give us
Two
three.
things. Two things. Well, first of all, it's called Haunted Villa 2. Well, I was playing UFO 50. I don't know if you heard about that game.
No.
So it's they're pretending like you found an old console, and it comes with like we had like this 52 in one cartridges like back in the Nintendo days. So it's like you found a, a forgotten console with one of those cartridges that have like 50 games on it. And what's interesting is they also went with the lore of like the company. Like when you're playing the earlier games, it feels less polished, and then the later games are more interesting. And then there's lore on the company itself. Like, it's all none of this exists. It's just a recent studio that did 50 games for a fixturious game console. But there's a lot of love and attention that went into it. The soundtrack is by Phlogiston, who's like an amazing chiptune artist. Uh, and so anyway, so I was playing this, which is like super fun to explore, and they had this kind of I want to say like point and click horror game in it, and I found the chiptune soundtrack was like super creepy, and I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to do something similar. So that's why it's called Haunted Villa 2, as if it's like a video game, and this is the sequel. And this one is all M8s, but it was designed to sound like a Nintendo. It has the not all, but most of the limitations of a Nintendo. So it's like only two pulse wave and I have only a triangle wave that doesn't vary in volume because you couldn't do that on the original Nintendo. This
Oh,
kind of
okay.
stuff.
It is.
But
It does sound very Nintendo.
so yeah, well, I mean, it's intended to mimic the restrictions of a Nintendo, not entirely because I think you don't have many different levels of volume uh, on the Nintendo, and this like you have fade outs and whatnot. It might be a bit smoother than it's supposed to be, but good enough. And the other reason why I think this is hilarious, I can't pronounce words. I think it's funny is because there's like I'm ripping off two really well known songs in this, but nobody notices, and I love doing this. Take a few notes from a song and then see if people will notice. The intro is totally the intro to Ghostbusters. It's just playing slower, like so Ghostbusters would be like the song starts. So
Hmm.
mine is it's not the exact same notes, but very, very reminiscent of that. It's just slower. So it starts with the Ghostbuster intro, and then at some point, there's like a little kind of like Oriental melody that goes, and then it goes like ding, 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 ding. That's Britney Spears' "Toxic," like
Yeah.
because I was making the melody, and then I was trying. It came to some like culminating point, and I was trying to figure out what to do with, and I just heard this, and I was like, man, that's too funny. So I put it in there. But what I love is like
That's great.
nobody notices. It's like nobody goes, isn't that Ghostbusters or isn't that Britney
Isn't
Spears?
that
But
toxic?
it totally is. Though it's the same exact notes.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's for that one.
Yeah, the limitations definitely mimic the exact Nintendo sounds. So very cool. And as I was looking through your songs, I was like, man, he makes lots of creepy
Oh, but
songs.
I love dark and creepy. It's like I'm a huge like. Well, I mean, like I don't know if we'll have video, but like the shirt I'm wearing is like the famous cover from Queen with all the members. Like you can only see their heads and then the
Yeah.
singers as well. But rather than be the members of Queen, it's like different demons from Evil Dead. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
well, you
I don't.
definitely nail the dark and creepy
I
vibe.
can't deal with like happy music. Like it's like it's just irritates me so much. Like C major crap. Like I can't. Like it's just I don't know why, like, but like music that makes me like that kind of forces you to feel happy. It just I don't know. I really don't like it. So it's
Well,
everything I do is
one of my songs that I picked is not a creepy one.
yeah, that's true. But it's still not a super. It's more hopeful than happy.
Okay, okay,
I can deal with
I'll give you
hopeful.
that. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, there's exceptions to that. Like I mentioned earlier, I was like really into metal in my younger age, and so I'm a huge like Halloween fan, and their songs are pretty happy, but they're not cheesy happy kind of thing. They're more like, yeah, they're
Yeah.
more maybe hopeful or something. Yeah.
I see the dividing line there of, between happy and
Yeah.
hopeful.
There's just something was like making you trying to make you feel joyous, and I'm like, just no. There's the word sucks. Like we're just like I'm full of microplastics. There's people dying all over the place. There's just like
It's rough out there.
cut it. You know.
Yeah. Alright, we're gonna keep it rolling with Stellarmy?
Oh yeah, this one is like
Stellarmony?
yeah, it's stellar harmony. Yeah,
Stellarmony, yeah.
it's like stellar harmony, but without an H.
Got it. All in leet speak, so I had to decode.
It's part of the fun.
Alright, here we
We're
go.
making sure nobody can find the song.
Yeah. All right, that was Stellarmony, and I really, really like this one.
Cool.
And
And
go ahead.
I'm surprised because this one is like, is it good? I don't know because it's the only song out of the what is like 54 total or 52. I'm not good
52.
on that. So out of the 52 songs, this is the only one that didn't get any comments. And when I did it, I felt pretty good with it. So this one was done with it's no computer involved. This one is just a syntax and a 303 clone. And I think I just got the syntax and I was exploring it and stuff. I thought it was pretty good, with the exception of some of the drums, some of the kind of snare sound I'm triggering manually. And this is something I don't like on the syntax, for instance, or some of the Electron ones. It's like you have a button that lets you repeat drum hits at a fixed interval, but it's not quantized. So if you press it wrong, then so there's a bunch of like tack, 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 tack that's like, to
Mm.
me, they're not tight enough, but sometimes you'll have someone say, "Oh, that's my favorite part." Like that's what they like about the song, is that these hits are not synchronized. So yeah, I leave that up to for people. But yeah, I was playing a lot of. There was this a lot of music. I guess I was like, "Oh, I was playing this game," so well, so that's another one of those. I was playing like a space exploration game or a space. It's just like more of a space cowboy game. And so I wanted to do something that was feeling. So I guess in that occasion, I was trying going for a certain vibe or vision of being in space,
There's a hopeful aspect to this,
having
I would say.
adventures in space. But who knows? Uh, it's funny because it reminds me of other songs that I've made in the past, but it's kind of like reusing some of these ideas and maybe in a better way. So yeah.
Yeah, do you like, this has come up multiple times, but do you feel like you have to work pretty hard to break out of old patterns?
No, not that much. I mean, it depends. If by old patterns you'd be like, why is all your songs are in C minor, for instance? Well, not anymore because now it's like mostly in A minor, but that's just because it's easier to play on the keyboard. Like you just play the white keys. It's easier
Yeah,
if you're jamming. But I tend to always use the same keys and scales and stuff, and it's hard for me to get out of. But I don't mind it that much because I think it's kind of part of my sound anyway, so it doesn't really bother me that much. I mean, you can just like transpose stuff if you wanted. Like, it doesn't really make a big difference. But it's just no, it's just the chords at the beginning. I made another song that we're using very similar chords, but they sound good, so it's not really a problem. And then some of the melodies, they sound also like melodies I've used in an. I was doing a game jam, so I was making it was like a space themed game jam. So I guess that's just my space melodies are similar, which would make sense, like. But other than that, I don't feel like I have this problem where I go like, maybe with some drum patterns. Sometimes I'm like, hey, like should
or
try
like, what do you
something.
do to keep experimenting and pushing in different areas?
Well, that's the thing is that sometimes you go like, okay, I've noticed lately that like I'm always doing these drum patterns, and then then you start the song by using a different drum. Like that becomes the basis. The basis for a new song is just not doing what you usually do. Like, and then you
Right.
can do what you usually do on top of that, but at least one element will be different. Another thing that's really fun to work with, but a bit more complicated to set up depending on what you're using, is to change the time signature. So some of the songs I have, oh man, the song sounds so different. Yeah, it's in 5/4 rather than be like or whatever. Like again,
Yeah.
I suck at maths, but it's the time signature is different. So that will give you a completely different feel. And then again, you can still use your old tricks or bring your old habits into a new time signature, and it will recontextualize it and make it sound different as well. So that's always fun to play with.
All good tricks. Cool. Well, we should get into my picks now. And I think I'm going to start with First Night Alone
Oh
because
yeah, this was
I
fun.
love this one. Here we go. All right, that was First Night Alone. And I don't know, because I don't think I listened to this first during Weekly Beats. I think I was like doing some show prep and somehow landed on your page and must have been in the right or wrong mindset and listened to this one and was just like captivated, I think, by the, that just
But it's
pulse.
hypnotizing, right? So
Yeah,
I
it's
think it was DDMM64 that suggested that you might look me up for your show, and then you went through my tracks and you went like, oh, okay, yeah, this one's interesting. Fine, test it out.
yeah, yeah. And it's just such a like a not great drug night.
Yeah. So, all right. So now your show's on YouTube. So, and YouTube is being YouTube. I don't know if because this song is kind of a ripoff, not directly, but it's highly inspired by another band. And if the band was created today rather than have been created in the 70s or whatever it was, it would be called Unalived, you know. But that's not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm,
I'm not
mhm,
gonna
yeah.
say the word because I don't want to mess up your channel because apparently that's a thing.
Yeah. Get the
But
whole
so
show taken down, man.
yeah, it starts by S and it ends by side. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we call it S side. Anyway, so there's a band called that, and then learned about because I was a fan of Henry Rollins and Rollins band, and
Mhm.
for the Crow soundtrack, they made a cover of what's this called, Ghost Rider, and Ghost the original Ghost Rider song was made by that band, the band that should not be named, the Voldemort band. And that's totally their thing is like they have this like hypnotizing kind of drilling oppressing bass line, and the way that the guy sings on top of it, that just this I think it's called Frankie, the song, Frankie Teardrop. So that's kind of my take on Frankie. And it's just, yeah, Frankie Teardrop is like, so you got this kind of bass going on and the same kind of drums going on. And the guy's like, oh, Frankie works in a factory, like, and it's just about this guy that's just working and his life is shit and they can't take it anymore. It's like, oh, Frankie, like, so I was like, I want to do something like that because I think it's like super enjoyable in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what can I do? Like, what kind of story I want to make, And I was thinking, oh, yeah, what about if some kid is the first night that he's alone? His parents like, okay, you're old enough now. We're going to do this, this, and that. We're going to leave you alone in the house. Don't do anything stupid. And it might be from personal experience, like like you just go like,
Don't have
well,
a party,
like
don't do drugs.
no, but it's not even that. Like you're too young to even think about like you don't have friends, like well, maybe not enough to make a party, or even if you invited them,
Got
it would
it.
be like, no, my parents don't want me to come out. But then you go like you go to the liquor cabinet to be like, I'm gonna try all these bottles, like, and then you go like, oh man, that tastes like shit, like because I don't enjoy alcohol that much, and then the kid is like, well, what about these pills that mommy's always like, like freaking like Ativan or whatever it is, like Valium, and then the kid's like, well, that does nothing because he doesn't know that it takes time to kick in. And also he's consumed alcohol. So it's like a really bad combination. And then he keeps taking other pills thinking, well, is it gonna do something? And then I was gonna go for like, and then he hears a sound in the basement, and then as he's feeling dizzy and he falls down the stairs. And I wanted to have like half of the song be from the perspective of like having your legs broken at the end of in a dark basement and then waiting for someone to come. Like one of my parents are gonna come and then like, like feeling dizzy and disoriented and hearing weird noises in the dark. But I stretched out the first part of the story so much that like I was just blah blah blah, like I was improvising, right? Like I didn't write down anything, and then I look at the time. I'm like, oh man, it's already
Like,
like
oh my
8 minutes
god.
or something. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'm gonna fall down the stairs now and then call it a day. So so that's what happened.
And there's a part of the song that I messaged you about that I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Oh, this is so cool," and you're like, "I didn't even intend to do that."
yeah. So
But
I'm gonna pretend that I did this on purpose. Yeah,
yeah, because like how, back to how other people interpret your music, it was almost like house party to me where there's like music playing in the basement and there's a certain part of the song where he's like, I'm going down to the basement, and the
I turned down the cutoff on the
yeah, you
bass.
turn down the cutoff so it's like you are
I mean, I did do this
closer to the
manually
music.
though, but I didn't do it consciously. Like I wasn't going like, "Oh, I'll do this; it'll sound cool." But like maybe unconsciously, I was just in the basement. And I was like, "All right," but
So
yeah,
it really gave the sense that he's like walking opened a door and walking down the basement, getting closer
yeah.
to the music, which
But
I was like, "Whoa, this is so cool."
But that's good though because that's a super good idea, and then I'm gonna use it for another song later on, but this time it'll be conscious. But this is something that happens sometimes that I like with creativity is, like, sometimes you'll hear someone say something, and you'll be like, "Oh, man, that's an amazing idea. Why didn't I think of that?" And then you go like they go like, "What do you mean?" And you go like, "Well, didn't you just say this?" You go like, "No, I didn't say this. I said that." And then you're like, "Oh, so it's my idea then. Good." Like, you
Yeah.
you elucidate a good idea by misunderstanding someone, like, and then you go like, "Oh, it's mine to keep."
Love it when that happens. Like when something extra falls in the pot and the soup's really good, you know?
Yeah, 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 exactly, and then you go like, "Well, I'm gonna take note of that and pretend I did it on purpose." Which, let's
Exactly.
be honest, this is how most things were invented on the planet is, like,
It's
throughout
true.
humanity is just people going like, "Oops, I didn't mean to do that, but good."
Like, that worked. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of things have been created that way.
Mm. So, yeah, I wanna make more of these songs, like, I like I did another one that's kinda over the top, and we can't hear what I'm saying because it's, like, the voice is too processed, and then someone in the comments said that it made the song better, that they couldn't understand what I was saying, like, which which is a weird compliment, but I'll take it. Uh,
Although on this song, I kept wanting some just, like, heavy industrial snare to come
mm,
in,
I think it's
and
part of the tension is like, you never get that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
release, it's just tension, 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 tension.
'Cause I've thought about that of like, "Oh, would it be better with this snare that I'm kind of envisioning, or is it even better because I'm, like, anticipating it?"
Well, now is a good time to let you know that all my music is released under Creative Commons. So if you wanted to
Alright, I'm
add a
gonna
snare, you could just do it, and you wouldn't even need to ask permission for it, as long as you give me credit for what I've done. I'm pretty well, and actually I'm due. If I'm not, was it? I don't know on Bandcamp or on Weekly Beats. I'm not sure, but one of these sites they didn't have the option to put like a full Creative Commons, like no like non-commercial this or that, like just Creative Commons attribution and that's it. So I added because like my take on this is like, oh, okay, yeah, well, people think like, oh, well, someone takes my song and it makes a shit ton of money with it. I'm like, well, fuck, then make another song, like, and then you know, then you'd be like, oh, fuck, this, I do have the potential, then make another song, like, or you can ask politely. The guy's like, hey, do you mind sending money my way? Like, you don't have to, but it'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's almost better that way because it's like, "Oh, if I've got thousands of people trying to peddle my music and get it to work and it lands, then I
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like, that's the direction I need to go."
And whereas if you didn't release with the full rights available, basically, like then maybe someone would just be like, "Oh, I'd love to use that, but I want to, well, fuck it," like, or
I'll
maybe
just make my own
it
kinda
wouldn't have ended up
similar.
on the list that people is like. So that's all. The other thing that I like with this whole Creative Commons things is like I had some of my music lifted on the Free Music Archive, and then sometimes YouTubers they go on this because they know they can find some royalty free music they won't get in trouble for using. So I had like there's this dude that made like a aluminum can smashing machine that he made with bicycle parts, and then he's like showing how he made it, and then he has like a little credits at the end, and my song is playing. It's just super surreal, like I had this girl do like a makeup tutorial. My music's playing in the background. There's all kind of weird stuff. Like
Oh, that's
most
cool.
of it is no longer available, but it's fun to like once in a while. I just look for my name and then I see a bunch of weird videos with my music in it, just because like they could actually take it. They didn't have to ask permission. They didn't have to
Yeah.
do anything special. So I think sharing is caring, but also it goes a bit deeper. I've struggled with the idea of like the commerciality of music. Like it's weird to me that we take culture and then turn it into a consuming products. I'm not
Mhm.
against people making money. Obviously, people, if I could, I would make a living with my music. I'd be quite happy. But I'm not comfortable with the notion of humans being born in their era and then naturally instinctively wanting to partake into culture, wanting to be part of humanity, and then wanted to hear what other people have to say, to communicate, to, like, we have a short time here, and like, I'm here, you're here, we're talking, something's happening, this is
Yeah,
interesting. I wouldn't have liked it if you asked me for $20 before we could start talking. Like, it
exactly.
would have made this exchange completely different. It would have kind of perverted it to some extent. Like, so I don't like this idea of, like, hey, you like music, well, fuck you, give me money. Like, no, it's
Mhm.
that's these things, like cultural exchanges, should be free, uh in as many ways as possible. Obviously, people need to make money, and then also you have to protect yourself from people who don't play by the rules. Uh, so what I prefer is, like, like, if you want to give money, I'm happy. There's a button right here. Click the button, send me as much
Right.
money as you want. I'm super happy, no problem. But I don't want people to be in a situation where they go, like, I like this stuff, but I can't afford it. Then it's just that's just sad to me. Like,
Yeah, unfortunately, we have survival tangled up with creative cultural endeavors that are kind of at odds with each other.
yeah, it was a super complex subject. We could probably talk
Yeah,
a
that's
long
gonna
time
be
about this as well. But
we'll cover
yeah,
that in our second hour.
yes, jeez.
Uh,
And you still have 2 picks left, so
but I do agree with you that, and I've said this multiple times now on this show, that none of us are gonna get rich from our music.
hey, whoa, whoa, don't jinx it. Wait, wood, touch wood. I would like the listeners to know that I have now touched wood for the
Okay,
entirety
yeah,
of
okay,
us.
I knocked on some too, just
Yeah,
just in case.
and if people get lucky, please share,
But
But you're right.
we should share anyway, and, more ears on your music if someone else borrowed some of it and made
I would
something
say
else out of it.
we can still invite it. It's just don't wait for it though. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
if the sole purpose is to do that, you'll probably be disappointed and bitter, and then stop creating and stop contributing to culture. Which I think we need more than ever with all the fucking AI bullshit going on. Like, I think real
Mhm.
people creating real things, and even for yourself, like some of the music, like, like you create for yourself, or like, I want to do more ambient stuff, because my girlfriend likes to listen to music while she reads, but she doesn't want to listen to distracting stuff. So I I can make music for her, and then it creates something special between us, and it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be a consuming product. I could also be like, hey, my love, this is for you, and then I can put it on Bandcamp and sell it. But I mean, it doesn't take anything away from her, right. I don't know.
Now you're a real capitalist.
Yes, but I'm the kind of capitalist that makes paying optional, right? So it's like, if you
Right.
want it, if it's something that suits you, if it's what your heart desires, and you do not wish to invest money in it, then fuck it, just have it. If you do want to give me money, then here, click the button, and that's also fine.
Yeah. Just to be clear, neither one of us are turning down money, but
I used to. Then I realized that was dumb, because I think there's people that have money that they want to give it to people because they don't know what to do with it, and then
it's
it makes
true.
them happy to share it, and then you're like, no, 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 and
No,
then
no,
it's like, no,
no.
it's just, yeah, let people have their fun, whatever way they have. If it makes other people happy, and doesn't hurt people, then yeah, we shouldn't be so judgy or whatever.
Yeah.
Send us money. Let's do
100%.
that.
All right. Let's go on to the next one. Let's see. This is carbonicized or
Carbonized.
carbonized. I'm obviously having trouble reading leet speak tonight.
I don't know where I picked that up. It's entirely silly, but I kind of started, so
Carbonized.
sticking to it.
And if you're unfamiliar with leet speak, carbonized is spelled C4RB0N1C3D.
Yeah, I didn't even turn the B into an 8. What a noob.
God, God, what a noob. All right, here we go. All right, that was Carbonized, and those are fake guitars.
Those are fake guitars, yes. I
They
do have a
sound
real guitar, but
pretty damn good for fake guitars.
I'm not good. But that's where the name of the song comes from. And sometimes, like like the name of the songs, they always have like a stupid origin. If I'm not mistaken,
Mine
yes,
are
this
usually
is.
just M8 randomized, so
Oh, well, that's good. It's UJam's virtual guitarist Carbon VST that I got for cheap.
there you go.
We're gonna do a little publicity for Plugin Boutique, pluginboutique.com.
Plug-in boutique.
Yes, they give you they have good prices for VSTs, and then they always give you free stuff. Every month there's a new free plugin that you get when you purchase something else. And the more you purchase stuff, and then the less you have to pay for stuff. And like it's pretty cool. So I
Got
got
it.
this plugin either for free or super cheap on Plugin Boutique. And it took a little while to figure out how to articulate it, but yeah, it's pretty convincing. And for this kind of song, like one of the soundtracks that blew my mind back in the days was the Quake 2 soundtrack. I don't know if you've played Quake 2.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
So it's super interesting in a way because so Quick One had the music was made by Nine Inch Nails by Trent Reznor,
Yeah.
and it was like mostly atmospheric music. It wasn't action oriented, would say. And then this guy called Sonic Mayhem. I think he's from Spain. I'm not sure. It's probably not where he's from, but anyway, this guy Sonic Mayhem made the soundtrack, made a fan soundtrack for. Sorry, East German. I have this thing where, like, with information, if I can't remember something, I get obsessed. So it's better I look it up. So this German guy made a fan soundtrack for Quick One, sent it over to id Software. He printed it on a CD, and then he sold it to a couple of people. Then he sent a copy over to id Software, and then apparently Ramiro heard it, and then he was like, "Yeah, how would you like to make the soundtrack for Quake 2?" And that's how he got how he got
Wow.
hired to do it. But it has a lot of these kind of industrial sampled guitars to it. They're probably real guitars, but sampled and then repeated, just like Frontline Assembly or Ministry or these kind of bands were doing at the time. Which I really like, this kind of like industrial aesthetic with guitars, and this plugin reproduces just that perfectly. So I was like, okay, let's do that. So this entire song is based on me wanting to use that plugin. And then, yeah, that's why it's called Carbonize, because it was like, well, the software is called Carbon, and then,
It's
isn't
like,
Han Solo like, what was he
yeah.
frozen in?
Or I guess it's kind of a play on like carbonized.
Yeah, Carbonite. I guess I should have called it, but that's not what that's not what the name is. So there you go.
Yeah, and this is one that I was like, I really like these guitars too, and it's still in the same vein of your style, but enough different that I was like, I think I should include it.
The lead goes in weird places in that song too. Like it's up. You were asking before about like habits. I'm trying to get my leads always. I feel like my leads really quite often sounds the same. It's the same melody, but I like it. So that's that's what it is. But and this one is different.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a certain point where it's like, I'm going to repeat myself because I like this.
Well, again, like I said before, it's like it ends up being part of the style too. Like, it's not too bad.
Yeah, but cool song, great guitars, and I was very surprised to learn that they were virtual.
Yeah, maybe it's a good publicity for the UJam plugin. So
Yeah,
UJam, if you want to send me free plugins for me to demo them,
yeah, bring them on.
I do that for the plug plugins though, like the plug like there's chip sounds, and then chip synth have like C64. They have the Nintendo NES one and chip sounds. If you don't know, like do you know these plug like PLOGE
I'm looking it up.
VSTs?
Plogue VST.
Yeah, so they had like this first one that's how I found out about them. Plug chip sounds. They have all the old school chip sounds, obviously from like Atari, Nintendo, Sega, arcade machines, this kind of stuff.
I see.
They have chip speech, which is all the different.
Vocaloid.
Why is this before Vocaloid? Like, how can I say that? Yeah,
Vocal
vintage style
synthesis
speech synthesizers.
emulations.
Yeah, exactly. But from like stuff from the 80s, like for like if you remember, there was this commercial with the Mac SE that's like, oh, it sure feels good to be out of that bag. And they demoed that the Mac could now talk. Like, it's all these old school text to
Yeah.
speech technology that where they had in the Mac SE, and then in the Atari ST, and then one that, like, one is from a car, if I'm not mistaken. It's like one of the first talking car had this kind of speech synthesizer, but they're all articulated in ways that you can write lyrics with them, and then you can have the machine sing, but it sounds like super old school. And then there's a new lineup of plugins. They're called chip synths. So these are dedicated to only one chip. And what I like about Plug is that they do, it's not just like emulation. They analyze the chip like from a engineering point of view, and they reproduce the chip as accurately as possible with all the quirks and all the defects and whatnot. So right now, They
Character,
have
they call it.
Yeah,
Character.
yeah, yeah, character. There you go. So they have one for Super Nintendo, they have one for Sega Genesis, one for Commodore 64. They have one that's like the DX7, another one that's another it's an Opel 2, Opel 3 emulator. Like so, all these old Yamaha keyboards that have like little FM chips in them. So that's Porta FM. They have this one and the yeah, I was because I said Nintendo before and I was like, oh my god, did I just breach my NDA? But no, this one has been announced. They're gonna have a chip synth for the Famicom or Nintendo Entertainment System that's
Cool.
coming up next. So and I have some songs that demo these plugins. It's always like a lot of fun to showcase a plugin by doing a song with it. So yeah, again, UJam, if you if you're listening, I'm available.
Not sponsored.
Well, I'm the plug segment was sponsored, but it was spontaneous. So no, it's not sponsored, but I've been collaborating with David, which is the president of the company. Super nice dude, and
Oh,
these
okay.
brothers. I mean, like even if I didn't
So
know
you
the
like
guy, I
on the
was like,
R&D team or
well,
like
I mean,
the
like
beta tester?
yeah, more like beta tester, and then like like I review the manual and tell them if there's something's not clear or. But
Got it.
that goes with what I was saying. But I did the same thing for uh, I did the same thing for the mega command, for instance. Like I like to have my name in manuals. Basically, that's my end goal. Like I'm not being paid. It's just like I want my name in the manual. Happened a couple of times.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're deep into the like chiptune community then.
Well, not as much as I used to be, but to some extent, yes.
Very cool. Well, you got your name in some
Hey,
manuals maybe, so.
Trash 80 stayed at my house once. Like ooh.
Whoa! Oh my god.
I was there. He bought his first Electron Mono machine in Montreal, and I was there
Oh
to
man.
to
You
witness that.
waited almost to the end of the show to tell this, man.
Drop the bomb. Yeah, no, no. I mean, now he's a super cool guy, and shout out to him. Like quite honestly, now like even when he came over for the shows, man, like he wouldn't accept money, this kind of stuff. Like we're just like, yeah, I'll do it for fun. I'm like, "Okay, like here, take some money, please. But these shows like they take a lot of money to organize, and all the organizing staff we didn't pay ourselves. We kept all the money for the artists, and
Yeah.
anyway, I mean, he's just like a amazing guy overall. But we've sung his praise
We
already,
have
and
I
let's not
mean,
go
I
back
don't
there.
think we can sing his praises enough. I would love to have him on and chat with him more, but I don't know if my lowly podcast is worthy enough to have the Trash
I
80 on it,
I
but
mean, wait for him to go on a vacation and come back. But otherwise, I think yeah, you should ask him. I think it'd be happy if he can spare the time. Like he's not like
yeah,
he's super approachable. Like honestly, like it's just we need more people like this.
for sure. And when we do have them, we must sing their praises.
for for an hour and a half.
All right. Well, we are at the end of the show. We've got one more song to play out. And it's not a happy song, but it's a hopeful song.
Yeah, well, it's not a.
There's a fine line.
There's
There's a
no one
fine line.
dying in the basement in this one that we know of.
And this is one that was definitely outside the, I don't know if bounds is the right word, but outside of a lot of the stuff that we've already heard. And it's called Pinguino's Fishing Adventure. And it is a fun little hopeful like video game sounding adventure of a friendly penguin, I imagine.
Yes, and it's my only song that features the oboe. So
The first oboe feature.
yes.
But yeah, it's we'll play it out to the end here, and it's a maybe a good palate cleanser if you are feeling spooked out or scared or hungover from doing drugs while you're home alone.
Yeah, don't do that.
But thanks again for taking the time to be on here and arrange it with your schedule. And always fun to check out people's music.
Yeah, dude. Well, thanks to you for doing this. Like it's a lot of work doing a show like you're doing. So I want to point that out. Super appreciated. I have to catch up on a lot of the episodes, but like yeah, you to hear about like all the different artists and then just put voices and concepts and ideas and thoughts
Yeah.
on the music that we've been hearing during the challenge is really interesting.
Yeah, and since you're an actual radio guy, if you ever have any tips for me on how to improve the show, I'm all ears. Just like improving
Honestly,
music, you know.
Honestly, I was like when I learned about your show and I listened to the few episodes at first, I was like, "Oh man, this guy's really good." Like, you know, like your
Oh
voice is
shit!
good, your tone, like questions you ask. I think you got this. You should start your own radio show, man. Like, approach your local community radio station, and you can. Well, I told you I wanted to take some of the like. I don't know if I'll do the interviews because the radio station I'm hosting at is French language, but I wanted to take the selections and then
Yeah,
do a focus on all the artists, and so I'm still working on that. But I think next season we'll start doing this.
yeah, man. I
Take your picks and the artist's picks, and then maybe I'll do a little introduction every time after listening to the show. I can pick
yeah,
up some
I would love
anecdotes.
to hear what I have inspired a an actual radio show to do. So
Why it's community radio, right? So
I
that's
mean,
not.
still, you know, like, I mean, I guess this is kind of community radio,
Yeah, it's all
but
good, man.
yeah, thanks for the compliments, and it's always good to hear that I'm doing a good job from someone that does a lot of this stuff.
To be fair, it's a lot to do with your voice, your pacing, and the questions you ask. And yeah, I think you got all that figured out. So
Awesome.
good for you.
Yeah, thanks, man. You know, always when you're listening back to it editing, you're like,
Oh, don't do that.
"Oh man, I say these things too much."
Yeah, but that's just you're the only one that notices, right?
It's
And
true
and
because
otherwise, it just becomes part of the identity. Again, like I was, it's just starts ends up being part of the style and the identity of your channel. So
right.
and then if you really feel annoyed by something, then you just at any point just stop doing it, you know? So it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
And then people in the comments will be like, "How come you don't say this anymore? What happened to this?" You know?
how come you don't say "so" anymore?
The one that I do all the time is say something and then go like, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, man.
Just wrap it
My
up by going, yeah.
when I send the mix to other people, they're usually like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I say this so many times," and I'm like, "I didn't notice," and
Nobody
just like you
notices.
said, like you're self-conscious about.
Because it's part of natural speech, right? Like we
Yeah,
all have these little stall words. We all have these. You just don't usually listen back to yourself when you talk. So that's the
it's
difference.
true. And I heard recently that a lot of the connecting words that we use that have been sort of like frowned upon, like, and other connecting words, they are finding that they're actually pretty helpful for metering speech and allowing time for thinking. So maybe
Yeah,
it's not so
it
bad.
helps with processing. Like and
Yeah.
guys, don't worry. Just express yourselves. You know, like I don't want to be gloomy and depressing. This is mean to be hopeful, and we're gonna switch to Penguito's fishing adventure soon.
Yeah.
But we're all gonna die, so don't sweat these freaking things. Like you know,
Speaking
there's
of being hopeful,
there's limited time. You know, like you can always improve, but don't be harsh on
don't
yourself.
stress over
Just
it. Just make stuff. Just make stuff.
exactly. Just
Yeah.
express yourselves. You'll
Well,
get better
thanks
at it, even if you
again.
don't want to.
Thanks again. And we're going to go on a wonderful fishing adventure.
Let's do that.
Everyone enjoy, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, man.
Bye.